Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sonia. It's been a little bit since I've actually shown a tarot deck, but I just got this Morgan-Greer tarot from 2004, so it's a vintage deck, and I'm proud to own. I have I have a few vintage decks, and maybe I need to do a video on that. When there's so much, new stuff coming along, sometimes I feel like, you know what, I want to look back. Yeah, I want some vintage. I want some, And this deck definitely reminds me of my childhood because it's got this 70s vibe, that vintage look. Illustrated by Morgan-Greer. You can see the first printing was 1979. This is 2004, U.S. Game Systems. Can't get it to turn it this way. And this is the Italy printing. There we go, Italy printing. So that's the back of the box, and this is the front of the box. Queen of Swords. And it's your tuck box. Doesn't have like even a little white booklet. It's sort of this fold out pamphlet thing, which, that's okay. Oops. And it just has this tarot spread. And these are the backs. It's that little card. Morgan-Greer, and the Morgan is with the help of Lloyd Morgan. And there's a little bit about Morgan-Greer. And this is the cards. So like I said, this is the 2004 edition. It is based on RWS. It is borderless, as you can see. And it has deep colors. And you can definitely see the 1970s in this. And Lucky is back up here bothering me. Like, you can see like the hairstyle and the mustache, and that's very 1970s. And that magician. So these are like a close-up image. Let me pull these back a little bit. Look at that. Is that her eyeshadow? Oh my goodness, it's dark. I like them though. I really do. I like the colors. I like the 70s vibe. I think they're really cool. It's like it has a lot of the, what you'd normally get in the RWS, in the original RWS, any of those. Like the whole look of it. These are like zoomed in on the actual, main part. This is like, these guys they're having a fun time. Just going round and round on that wheel, and somebody fell off here. So it's, I've looked up a few things, a few videos and, reviews on it. And the card stock, it's always the card stock that has, people have issues with. I don't care. As long as it's not a piece of paper. I like this though. It's death, but it looks more like a Grim Reaper. It's got this Sith scythe. Now, ooh, I like this devil too. This deck has had several editions, I have found out. The first one, like I said, 1979 that was by Morgan Incorporated. We have a lawyer's office. It originally started out Morgan & Morgan. I think it has now become Morgan & Morgan. But that's what that reminds me of. And some of those, if you got the original 1979 deck, some of those had like a really narrow black border, and those are said to be rare. I like the sun one. And then you have an early U.S. games, 1979 through the early 2000s. And I've heard some people complain that they don't know whether they like the close-up version or, they feel like it's taken away from all the scenery that's around it. In the early U.S. Games one, that was printed by A.G. Muller out of Belgium. And they said some of those were like, they had some cards that were off-center. Like maybe the Chariot was said to be off-center. Like, I feel like people would lose their shit. Has there been a deck made where everything is like off-center? If there has, I can just hear the complaints. It's like, geez Louise, I think there's enough decks out there to satisfy people. But I really like these. I like the deep colors. They're very 70-ish, Like I said, I really like that because I was born in 67. So I grew up with colors like this. Ooh. And then, of course, they're not wands, they're rods. And then you have the 2004 U.S. Games redesign, Italy printed, which is this one. And the Queen of Swords was put on its new box. That looks like hippie women, at a commune. And they're all sitting around, drinking. And they got their little flower wreaths on their head. That's what that reminds me of. And then there came the Pocket or 10 edition. That was 2011, and future reprints from that. Of course, a smaller size. And then I believe there was a modern Italian language edition, printed in Belgium. Lucky, leave the fountain alone. Don't talk back to me. You're doing it again. Stop. Look at his face. That one's cool. I have a little tabletop fountain over here. I had wrote down, talking about if you're a collector. Like, of course, if you were a collector, the black border ones from the first edition that are rare, those would be highly sought after. And of course, some have said they don't like this edition because they say the colors are muddy. I don't think the colors are muddy. Of course, I'm not one of those people. These really, what is the word? These really vibe with me. These really jive with me. They do. Like, honestly, if I could go two ways in my life. Deep and dark, which I tend to gravitate towards now. I have, previous years before been very into the hippie culture. But not just the hippie culture that is way too laid back, and not concerned with nothing. Not that type of hippie culture, which I think tends to be more of a modern one. But, they became hippies for a reason. It was very political. They went to, they did like sit-ins and sleep-ins and stuff like that, for causes. And they could get quite violent at times. But they had causes they stood for. Of course, against war. I'm against war. I don't believe in it. I really want to, and I'm working on it, probably in the fall or winter, or fall and winter. I'm putting together some ideas for, looking in depth in tarot and the symbolism and all of that, not just, looking at cards, but trying to understand them from the viewpoint of their symbols and the numerology, and like looking in depth at them, not just learning the cards. Because in the wintertime, you know, that's when a lot of people, even here in Florida, we do it too. We hunker down because it's not always sunshine in the winter. It's not. That's a pretty one. Those grapes are so purple. Okay, so I am very happy with my new vintage deck. I love it. So who has a Morgan-Greer? Anyway, until next video, I'll see you then.